Welcome to George and Jane's YouTube channel of hobbies and interests. Please subscribe and remember to browse the playlists.
Right, this is what? The parlour. Ready to watch TV.
Welcome to Tattershall, cared for by the National Trust. I'm Nigel, one of the volunteers. You are surrounded by history, stretching back over 800 years. Most of what still stands today was built in the early 1400s by a medieval treasure of England called Parlour. He was a very powerful and wealthy man, second only to the king. We have analysed fragments of the past, carried out detailed research, and undertaken archaeological surveys to try and map out how this place would have looked in Ralph Cromwell's time. The inner ward is where the Great Tower stands today. The moat surrounding this ward would have had a perimeter wall that circled the whole area. Inside the walls would have been a great hall, chapel, some lodgings, and a variety of other important buildings. These are now lost to time. What we know for certain is that Tattershall Castle was not actually a defensive fortification. It was an opulent home built to impress. The Great Tower is the most striking symbol of this impressive display. It has been through some dramatic moments since its creation. We are lucky that this architectural wonder still survives. Buildings archaeologist James Wright has carried out groundbreaking doctoral research on the castle in partnership with the National Trust and the University of Nottingham. He will now explain how significant the tower is.
Originally, it was thought that Cromwell's Great Tower was constructed in the mid-1440s based on the building out of the castle. However, using scientific data of tree root dating, it's been shown that the floor frame of the tower dates to no later than 1431. So the building is going up at that period in time. The importance here, because most people are probably thinking of all 15 years will matter, is that Tattershall becomes a building which influences Eton College, which is built for royalty, rather than being influenced by it. So it goes on to influence an entire style of English architecture, which runs for about 200 years. The castle was built for Ralph Cromwell, who was the Lord Treasurer of England, so the man responsible for holding the purse strings. And he wanted a structure which would reflect his great status in society. And by doing that, he deliberately engaged builders who knew about innovative architecture. And they were looking to mainland Europe, they were looking to France, to Germany, the Baltic, the Low Countries, so these new ideas in how to actually design the building. And when they did this, even the building material, the brick which is used here, is up to the minute. It's one of the first brick buildings. The research has shown us some quite surprising discoveries about the use and function of some of the buildings and spaces of the castle. So what was previously thought to be a stables has turned out to be a lodging, the guardhouse has become another lodging, the tilt yard have become gardens, the parlour is now a servants' hall, and the kitchens are actually a gatehouse. The roof at Tattershall is really unusual because it has these two tiers which have an arcaded cloister around them, and that cloister links heated banqueting suites, and there is nothing else like this anywhere at all in mainland Europe during the medieval period. So talking about the guardhouse here at Tattershall Castle, the term guardhouse is slightly problematic because it comes with connotations of militarism, fortification, defensibility. And the big story in English castles that have been working away from these interpretations is we've understood that sheer complexity, housing and turnover, sort of uses functions, and spaces are actually approached in the medieval period. This probably never a place where soldiers were garrisoned, i.e. guards, but instead it was probably a very, very smart, quite lavish, well-appointed lodging village, and it came with the fireplace, the light, but also the comforts of an ensuite toilet as well, the drinking pot, which is in. So it was a place for Lord Cromwell retainers to spend time, to live, to sleep. He moved with a really great household of over 100 people to move around the country. So he had to have plenty of space for them to sleep with in the Tattershall. Also, the guardhouses were really important in the recent project of the castle because we've been able to understand some of the site archaeology. The Great Tower we now know was being built no later than 1431. However, the tree ring dating of the roof structure here of the guardhouse actually tells us that they were finishing the castle somewhere between 1446 and 51. So the dating of the trees are felt to reduce the timbers for the roof structure uses the other end. So we've got the full chronology inside. It takes about 20 years to achieve the Tattershall castle. So this chimney piece tells you everything you need to know about Parlour. Firstly, it establishes it as the big man Tattershall. We've got a Cromwell weed, which is a play of words known as Rufus, the varies with Cromwell and Cromwell. We've then got the treasurer's purse. This is reflecting his position in society. It also tells you what paid for. And then my favourite bit is the motto, Hamon not the wrongs. Now, why does he have to say that? So this Tattershall has a bit of an anxiety that the full it's asking that essentially because of the man of the second rank. He's not the very, very highest magnitude of that second. He is keen to tell them that his family does have a distant connection with the Lincolnshire aristocrats, because this is the argument that being they're not distant ancestors, but it is ancient history. This is quite unusual in 15th century Cardiff to go back quite that far in terms of the family tree. So there's already a bit of a clue there, and he's not concerned that he might not be quite as big and prestigious as everyone thinks he is, or as he liked in the tree. But he does still have great power and pride, and we see that here. Got his own family and some crazy cat like his name. Ellie Singing, his authority as a moral. And there's a reminder as well, he's two curious and foreign being there. I mean, clubs, they're called the wild men. And they're a reminder to be great, virtuous, chivalrous knights, rather than a wild man himself. And Cromwell's really concerned to be seen as chivalrous, good, and godly as well. So there's an element of piety as well in the battle of good and evil. So he's using his religiosity as part of his symbols of lordship. Here we see the centaur fighting a dragon, symbol of good and evil. Here we see Samson fighting a lion, good and evil. And also St. Michael fighting the dragon too. And this is all capped off by these crenellations at the top, which